Good morning, Texas. Good morning, Louisiana. Good morning, world. How are you, David?
I'm fantastic. Welcome back to the show. This is Impact Money, where we talk money in the morning, looking at crypto, stocks, and the latest events around the world with all the political situations and how the money is being placed into certain aspects and uh, crazy stuff happening, right? How
It
are you,
is.
Bruce?
I'm doing great. We have our this Annie show that I'm doing, so I'm all over the place a little bit, but having a great time with my daughters, so that's really cool. But yeah, pretty interesting news all around. We have Asia right now is printing up a lot of money. They have their quantitative easing going on. The Bank of well, first of all, the Bank of China minted up a bunch of money a couple of days ago, and we saw that in the Asian stock markets as well as in crypto. Sent really crypto flying. And then we had today the Bank of Japan comes out, and they've been at negative interest rates for a while now, and they said they are not going to have any aggressive new interest rates hikes. And of course, that as well sent the markets flying. I think probably actually a lot of what we saw in the crypto space over the last 24 hours was people knowing that the Bank of Japan was going to come out uh, with that type of stuff. The Bank of Japan, a lot of eyes on the Bank of Japan. That monetary policy there is pretty interesting. They've been at, and I guess we were at negative rates for quite a long time as well, or almost negative rates. But Bank of Japan's been at negative rates for quite a while. So we are live on Smart Money Culture TV. That's the smc.tv. If you guys want to watch us there on the net, of course, we're on your TVs there in Texas as well as streaming on all our platforms, Crypto Cake and X, YouTube, LinkedIn, and even Instagram, which I'm glad I said that.
That's right.
Go.
You do want to
Instagram has
get
that
your
extra
company
step. It
out
always
there.
throws me off. Go ahead.
If you do want to get your company out there and you have a business out of Houston, Texas, or one of these other regions, give us a ring. We're easy to reach. Networks Manager, Sir David Porter on Twitter. And yeah, we can get some business flow going for you and give you a nice showcase.
That's right. That's right. So we also have joining with us a little bit later on in the show. We have the Komodo team, some of the Komodo wallet teams. These guys have done a really great job in the crypto space. They built a decentralized DEX that people are able to use, trade different currencies atomically, so you can just straight trade, Bitcoin for Ethereum, or trade across, and without a centralized authority, or trade, Ethereum for Dogecoin, or some other types of really global boost for Dogecoin, or all these different types of things. So he's going to join a little bit later, so I'm pretty excited about that. Of course, we have Matt Dixon, the great Matt Dixon, joining us here in a while as well. Will give us some charting insights into everything that's going on. Pretty crazy. I'll run through some of the stuff. Of course, we have Trump Supreme Court. Trump, Colorado, if you remember, they took him off the ballot. I think it was the Secretary of State or something. Took him off, decided that he was not going to be on the ballot. And they said, well, pending a Supreme Court ruling, will stay. They made, she said that was the deal, or the court said it was the deal, and then they said, but we'll stay this ruling until the Supreme Court rules on it. So it basically forced the Supreme Court into hearing this case. And so the Supreme Court now is going to hear the case starting today. So pretty interesting, really, how that all plays out. I can't imagine they keep him off of the ballot, but this is kind of the way everything shapes up here. They have the lawfare where he's always just jumping around trying to keep himself on the ballot, out of the courtroom at whatever cost. So that's pretty interesting. And then, of course, we have the Putin interview tonight with Tucker Carlson, which I think is going to be pretty fascinating. I don't know if there's been an interview in recent time that will be more watched than that.
Yeah, I agree. And Tucker Carlson is really doing things for himself. They said, he made several tens of millions last year, but this year, man, he's going to be looking at the hundreds of millions of dollars prediction.
It's a lot of money, man. So he made a few tens of millions of dollars last year. I mean, I can imagine even just his revenue share on X alone has got to be well over enough to live on.
To live on, share, but, that's pebbles.
Yeah, well, the rev share on X though, I don't know the exact numbers, but basically Elon shares out of the amount that they've of profit or whatever. He does whatever. I don't think he shares exactly what the percentage is, but he shares 100% of it, which is pretty interesting. And it has made that platform grow immensely. It is now the top downloaded app on the App Store. As well, you have people posting all kinds of crazy things and memes and everything else all day, trying to get their little revenue share of.
It is a high demand field. I mean, we're all see how often, how throughout the day, everybody checks their social media feeds, and the fact that a company is finally paying you for just using it and not necessarily finding a sponsor to get paid by, but just using it is pretty huge.
Yeah, it's great to have a company that is willing to rev share like that. I mean, Elon is obviously, very, very smart guy, and to build it like that is pretty interesting, So now he has, of course, everybody going around posting on there, trying to make it better, and actually even policing themselves because they don't want to get demonetized. So since they don't want to be demonetized, they're trying to play nice in the sandbox. It's actually been one of the things that I've seen people complaining about over the bit. Yeah.
It's similar to the no swearing on TV rule. You have to try not to
no swearing on TV. That was like the one rule we got. You can even do like all kinds of other stuff. He told me on TV you can do all kinds of stuff. Just don't cuss.
You've been doing a good job.
Thanks. It's actually pretty easy for me. I don't know about that Mac guy. Sometimes he drops a bomb every once in a while. Just kidding. No, but I can't wait to actually bring him on. Let me just run over here. A lot of times before we come on here, I will I'll post some of the stuff happening on my X account. So let me just head over there and we'll do a brief run by here. Let's see here. Okay. Check this out, volcano in Iceland. So last time we had so I don't know if that music's copyright or not, but so this volcano in Iceland has begun to erupt again. Last time this was followed by earthquakes, so remains to be seen if that's going to happen again. The U.S. Supreme Court case to stop Colorado from keeping Trump off the ballot starts today. That's going to be, like I said, I can't imagine they keep him off the ballot. Crypto has been flying. Let me start down here. I said Asia is pumping the markets right now. The central banks are printing more money, diluting the holders' values and pushing the prices higher. That's a nice funny meme there. And you can see the Nikkei, which is Japan's stock exchange, is up about 2%. And they've been holding back over the last few days as the Hong Kong exchange and everything has been pumping. The Hong Kong is a little bit down today, 1.23%. It has been up for the last couple of days. So that's probably to be expected. Silver is up 0.5%, trading at 22.50. Make sure, guys, you can get metals at cost with atcostmetals.club and join the club there. So that's, I think we're going to continue to see as they print up. Oh, this is pretty interesting. This is a feel-good story. Do you think this is true?
Tiger shark hunting. But instead, a huge tiger shark is pushing a 100-year-old sea turtle. You might think this is a tiger shark hunting, but instead, the tiger shark pushes the turtle to the side of the boat, and then it's giving the turtle to a human. The people on the boat could hardly believe what was happening. When they picked up the turtle, they were dumbfounded. Then they took the turtle to a sea animal rescue boat, not far away. The rescuers picked up the turtle. They can see that the turtle is wrapped in a bunch of finger-thick ropes. The rescuers first use a knife to cut the rope that was wrapped directly around the turtle. Look at this piece of rope. I don't know how the turtle got tangled up in it, but it doesn't end there. This is just the beginning. Take a closer look. The turtle's neck is wrapped around the rope several times. A slight touch. The turtle's head shrinks in pain. Rescuers try to get the turtle to stick its head out, but it kept resisting. I believe if it wasn't for the pain, it wouldn't be like this. The turtle doesn't know what's happening in front of him. It doesn't move. The turtle is actually shedding tears. Maybe the pain is too much for him. The rescuers come and try to calm him down. Turtle, and then the tears stopped. Rescuers turn the turtle over. There's like a necklace around the turtle's neck. It looks like a shackle, and a lethal one at that. The turtle seems to realize that these people are trying to save him, and it's not moving anymore. You can see the turtle's neck has turned pink. If it doesn't get help, if it's not rescued, it's going to die. The rescuers use their knives to cut the ropes around the turtle's neck. The rope around the turtle's neck. As soon as they move the ropes, they touch the turtle's wounds. It starts to struggle again. It's a good thing the ropes are free. Look at the turtle's neck. The edges of the wound have become seriously infected. The turtle is in pain and crying again. The rescuers put medicine on the gauze to disinfect the turtle's wound. The turtle has calmed down. Next, we're treating the front wound. You can see.
Crazy, huh?
I don't know how it's not true. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing, right? That shark came in there and helped out like that. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy.
He said, "Get up there, go see the doctor."
Yes. Oh, look at this! I ran into this last night, and everyone's going to think I think this is pretty interesting here. So this is one of my videos here. So let's listen to this video. It's just a minute, and then I want to talk about what I said about it up top here.
Explicit taxes. You're paying for it. And keep your eye on one thing and one thing only: how much government is spending, because that's the true tax. Every budget is balanced. There is no such thing as an unbalanced federal budget. You're paying for it. If you're not paying for it through it in the form of explicit taxes, you're paying for it indirectly in the form of inflation or in the form of borrowing. The thing you should keep your eye on is what government spends. And the real problem is to hold down government spending as a fraction of our income. And if you do that, you can stop worrying about the debt. Keep your eye on one thing and one thing only: how much government is spending.
It was funny because I've seen that one before, but then so I just did a little bit of research here, and according to the U.S. Treasury Department, the government spent $6.13 trillion in 2023. They plan to collect about $1.5 trillion in income tax. That means that your real tax rate is 4 times higher.
Wow.
So if you base what your tax rate is, if you listen to what the gentleman just said, and you base your tax rate on how much the government is spending, not how much they tax you, because that includes the inflation, you're actually getting taxed 4 times higher than what you think you are. And that is an astounding number. And then you take that $6.13 trillion that they spent last year, and you look at what they already spent this year, $1.6 trillion in 37 days.
They know how to blow a budget.
I mean, these guys can spend more money than me at the Versace mansion.
Yeah.
And I can spend a lot there. That's crazy. Bitcoin is up sharply. Looking for my my chart here, but we're gonna bring Matt in here. Let me just keeping an eye on the ad here in Texas, and then we're gonna bring him on right as we come in here. Where's my Bitcoin chart? Anyway, I can just pull up right here. Impressive move we have here on Bitcoin as this money flows in. Well, it'll be interesting to see what Matt says about it. But if you look at if I go on the 4 hour here, just massive pump, 44,839 right now. It's at right now. Ethereum, you can see nice move there too. Pretty impressive. Let me just check here. Let's go ahead and bring Matt on. And then, yep, we are back. Welcome back, Texas. Thanks for joining. Hello, Sir Matt. Matt Dixon the Great. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you. Much better today. Hi, David. Hi, Bruce. And hi, America.
Glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, good.
So big moves in the markets. I think I've kind of addressed the situation correctly. We have this Asia's pumping the markets, it looks like, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of money coming into the market still to keep things afloat. It's quite interesting. I'm just sharing screen pretty much straight away, so I'm trusting you can see my screen there.
Well, I think we both added to the stage once. There we go. Yes.
Actually, what I'll do first of all, I'm actually just going to show the Japanese yen, because you mentioned the yen. The yen are doing things in a different way. They've not raised interest rates in the same way that America and the rest of the world have. And because of that, the yen has been weakening. So as this goes up, this is the dollar against the yen. It's showing dollar strengthening, yen weakening. And that's because they've kept interest rates really, really low in Japan, as you said, but they do manipulate the market. So they do something that's called, they actually manipulate the yield curve, and they intervene in the currency markets. So they have an active policy, and I think it's called some sort of dirty float or something it's called, because it's supposed to be a freely floating currency, but yet they intervene and manipulate the currency. So clearly it's not freely floating. The Japanese government manipulate that currency dramatically, and they do it to try to ensure their trade, to manage their trade expectations, so to promote trade and so on. So a weak yen actually means they can sell very, very cheaply and be very, very competitive. And so that's why I think they've kept such a weak yen to support their economy. And others do it in different ways. As you know, China are pumping money into the economy and releasing liquidity to keep things afloat. So they're all doing it in different ways, sometimes in competitive ways, but it's just quite interesting to see. And we'll just look around a few different cryptos and various currencies today. I just thought it was quite interesting looking at Bitcoin because, as I said yesterday, I believe there are warning signs out there, and I've actually put on the volume indicator today. I'll just show it, you can see it just here. This area here, you can see back in earlier last year, volume was quite high in crypto. This was before the big rise. But as the market's been rising, the volume has been dropping off. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, as I said yesterday, is a bit of a red flag, bit of a warning sign flashing there, that potentially the market is not being driven by volume. So it means there's not as much institutional interest as I thought there would be following this ETF approval. Volumes are staying really low, and yet the market's going higher. And this is because the narrative for the retail investors is a really good narrative. We're waiting for the next bull run, of course. So people are staying in and getting involved with that. They hear about the Bitcoin ETF and think, yes, that's going to be amazing. So all the news coming out, and Michael Saylor and so on and so on, buying more Bitcoin, borrowing and buying. So the background narrative, the environment is really good, and it's causing this retail price appreciation, but there isn't the volume. You can see the volume has been pretty low. And that is a warning sign to me. And that's why I actually closed my position yesterday. As I say, I closed in profit, so I'm happy with it. And I actually expect the market to continue to go a bit higher. So even here, if I just expand this out to where we are in the final bit of the move, you can see we moved up really nicely the past couple of days, really. And I'm expecting it probably to continue higher. It may even break beyond this, what I've got labeled as wave 3 here. So the wave 4 could potentially be complete here, where I've got the A wave marked, and we could push to new highs above this previous ETF approval high. We could push straight above there, or it could be just part of the correction of wave 4. It could be the A wave, then we get the B wave and a further C wave down. There's no telling for certain which it is, but because of the uncertainty, because volume is really low, and you can even see even in today, it's actually this move is based on pretty low volume. The volume's been coming down in the past few days, and yet the price has been going up. So it's not the strongest signal for me. I like to see strong volume, and if you looked, if I just go back to when we got the massive pump, I could go back even further, but you can see that the volume bottomed after the massive pump we got last time in the market. But then when the market had bottomed around the FTX low, volume started coming into the market, and that's what drove the price up initially. That's a good sign, and was actually telling you there's some major participants in the market buying in with this heavy.
That was when you messaged me and said I'm dollar cost averaging Ethereum.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was just a great sign. These are the sort of things you need to be looking at, not at today's price, but what's causing the price, what's driving it, and who's behind it, what volume is behind it. And so we could see here there's big volume coming into the market. And yes, we got some kind of pullback to be expected after such a strong volume. But then that's when this is basically, I think, where a lot of the institutions got out before this ETF approval. So that was the buy the rumor, sell the news event. And now the volume, even on RSI, you can see here that momentum is dropping off dramatically, even though price is actually pushing up at the moment. So there's a number of warning signs there. I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or whatever. I'm just saying be careful, because the signs are there that potentially the big players have possibly already taken their profits, and the market is potentially being pushed up by some of the retail players. And I think they'll probably still push it again higher. I mean, I've got here, once this blue wave 4 is complete, whether it's here or here, we should push up in a fifth wave, again, which will probably be on even lower volume. And then we'll probably start to see maybe some divergence in the market ready for a potential sell-off. So I won't run through too many, because I know you've got other guests today, but I thought it's just good to look at that. And we can look at the volume across different assets. So, for example, we'll look at the S&P 500. Even the S&P is actually, the volume, again, is not that high, considering we're at new all-time highs in the market. You can see volume's pretty low. So once again, it's not being driven so much by by big players in the market. And we can see we've got a 5-wave move nearing completion, I think, here. And so that being the case, it would mean the big players nowhere near the top. The big players aren't pushing this, and that's why there's no volume here. But the retail players are still seeing, oh, this is amazing, new all-time highs. The market's going just up and up and up, and they're pushing the market up without much volume. But the big players, I think, have already taken their profits. Right around here, they probably took their profits around the top of this wave 3. And that's typically the wave 3. We've always said it's the big aggressive move normally. That's where, at the end of that, is where you see the big players taking the profit. And then it's just the retailers left in, pushing the price up again from there. And that's where trouble potentially comes. And, here's the dollar index. Again, people have been calling a top in dollar index, saying it's coming down. Well, at the moment, we cannot say. There's no particular sign that dollar index is turning. There's no particular reason for it to turn at the moment. It may turn, but I'm just saying there's no particular technical indicators saying. I don't see any divergence there in particular. There's no real reasons for it to turn. And at the moment, the expectation is that the US are going to keep rates higher for longer, which means upward pressure on interest rates, upward pressure on US dollar. And we know that the others are manipulating the currencies, like Japan and China are pumping money into the market. So even though they have fixed currency, it's still basically providing liquidity, whereas America aren't. But money's still flowing into the dollar for now because it's got such high interest rates that people want to get the higher return you can get from the dollar than you can get from. Why would you invest in yen? In yen bonds, for example, producing nothing, when you can invest in US dollar, giving you massive returns, and also it's actually appreciating. So you got a double win there. So that's why money is still flowing into the dollar for the time being. And even oil price is still pushing up a little bit here. I do think that this is probably, before we get another fall in oil prices. So there's a lot going on in the market at the moment. When I say a lot in terms of signs for us and signals for us. But the big news that we're waiting for is on the 13th. It's going to be the next CPI numbers coming out of the US.
Yeah.
So core is expected to stay stable, meaning it's not declining. And we'll see what happens with the overall rates. But with inflation staying high in the US, it means that, that's why the Fed, I guess, aren't lowering rates, because inflation is still high. And if we were to see a tick up in inflation, that would be devastating for risk assets, I believe, because it would mean that the Fed are unable to lower rates and they will be keeping higher rates for longer. And who knows? They could even raise rates again. You just don't know. There could be a shock in the market. So
that would be a shock.
Yeah. So all eyes on the US and the US inflation. That's next Tuesday. So it's very close, only a few days away. And that'll give us some clear direction, I think, on the market. Solana is one of the few, I think, that's maintained pretty good volume. I mean, it's maintained good volume throughout most of this. But even so, volume, you can see even here, has actually declined whilst the market's been rising in this final move here. And again, that's reasonably typical, potentially, of a B wave, which is usually on low volume. If it is a B wave, it could be that wave 4 completed here, but I've got it labeled as A, with a B wave just pushing up a bit, and then another push down in a C wave to finish wave 4. So that, again, is reasonably typical that we're seeing volume dropping off. So even Solana, which is the sort of token of the hour, everyone's singing about Solana. Although you do know probably that Solana had another outage on was it yesterday or the day before? They had an outage. Basically, the network was down for, I think it's 25 minutes. They fixed it quite quickly. It's the 6th time it's happened, I think, and it didn't actually affect the price, surprisingly. So maybe people are just getting used to it. But it just shows that Solana still has some scalability issues, and that they recovered the situation very quickly. But it does leave room for other up-and-coming cryptos to step into the potential void, because Solana, yes, it's amazing. It's got amazing transaction speeds, but it's an inflationary token. And I'm telling you, there's others up-and-coming that I'm going to be telling you about that could potentially challenge Solana's elevated position. I didn't say top spot, because still Ethereum's still in that top spot, I guess, of those tokens. But Solana is right up there. It's I mean, in terms of performance, it's outperformed everything, hasn't it? It's been amazing.
It's been amazing. I mean, down from like $10 up to where it is now. I mean, 10x, I think even more. Pretty interesting though that they stopped the chain again, or it stopped. It was basically shown over the last year or so after the FTX collapse that when they stopped it. Before, it was on purpose, and they were forcing through transactions before other transactions. They were holding certain ones and forcing other ones. And that's what we talk about a lot, guys, with being careful with a lot of these new tokens. They are eminently controllable. You want to make sure they're great for making money. I mean, it's outperformed everybody. But you have to keep that in mind because it is... even though it's kind of decentralized, it's quite centralized.
You're absolutely right, and that is one of the issues with Solana, that to run a node is very, very expensive with Solana. And because it's so expensive, that means it is centralized because only a few big players can actually run those nodes. And that's why, again, I will be looking at alternatives and presenting alternatives, which actually is very, very cheap to run nodes, validation nodes. That's not the case with Solana, so it's highly centralized. And the whole reason crypto, of course, came into existence was to do away with this centralization of power within the financial world. And that's why Bitcoin was born, out of the financial crisis, the problems of centralization, Bitcoin fully decentralized and remains the most decentralized really of the currencies. So even, there's still a lot of centralization even within Ethereum really. So I think that's an very important point that you raised there, Bruce, about the centralization and just to consider tokens. And that's why I'm looking forward. If it's okay with you, I'll discuss it with you. I'd like to bring on a guest to discuss a particular token that I'm very, very excited about. And rather than me do it disservice just presenting somebody else's token, I'd rather get the guys themselves in.
Awesome.
Because
well, I mean, sure, we'll discuss it, but absolutely, that's what it's all about, really. Is educating the people. That's what it's. These times right now. They're hard for a lot of people to understand what's going on, and you have these massive amounts. I mean, you just look at even Solana up, whatever it is today, or Bitcoin up 4% or something. I mean, people are used to making this an entire year on their investments, and this stuff's happening in a single day. So we want people to be able to understand what's going on.
Yeah, big riser today is Cardano. Again, we had this labeled in advance about the ABC correction down, potentially looking at a push higher, and that's exactly how it's gone. And the one we mentioned the other day, Link, again, is kind of leading the way. It broke out of that consolidation, broke higher ahead of all the rest. And I did say it was the market leader at the time, and the others would follow suit, and that's precisely what we're seeing now with the other tokens. So it's good to look at correlations and look at leaders and just see what's happening with the others. And we can have a quick look at XRP here. I mean, there's one of the there's news about XRP saying there's going to be some amazing announcement coming in the next few days. Well, nobody listened to it. Yes, XRP has risen from its low of the last few days, risen a little bit, but no major spike in price. And so people are becoming a bit inured to all these, they shouldn't be coming out with these things saying it's inside information that news is coming out in the future or something. They're just trying to pump the price, maybe for their own ends. So this is what we need to avoid. As I say, again, it's more problems with potential centralization. If somebody's in the know and knows information's coming out, they shouldn't be, it's not right that they have that information. They're not privy to that, shouldn't be privy to such information, and then trying to pump the markets and benefit from it. This is what crypto is trying to do away with.
Yep, that's right.
So, yeah. And I know you've got a lot on today, so I'm happy to go on, or we can leave it, or if there's any particular tokens you want me to look at.
Well, I will go to a commercial there in Texas in about a minute. So I think that one of the interesting, and then we'll pull on Jason here with the Komodo platform. But I think that one of the interesting things that's going on right now, of course, is just this the stock market. I mean, people just keep looking at it. The stocks and crypto and everything just keeps going up, and their money, their fiat money just keeps going down, and so it's scary for them to get involved. But I think things like your platform, like Eve, and Learn How to Trade, David just put it up there, are going to help out a lot. We need to get that set up. Let's try to launch that if we can.
Yeah, and so just finally on the S&P 500, I mean, here was the chart. I've not changed it from yesterday, but basically we've got a wave 1, 2. You measure that wave, you transpose it to the start of wave 2. It gave you the exact top of wave 3 to within a fraction, 1.618, that Fibonacci golden ratio. A wave 4 down of some sort. We're pushing up in wave 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're working on that 5th wave higher. So yeah, it's looking as though we're getting towards the end of this current move up, and we will get at least a correction, if not a turn in the market, but at least a correction down. So that's why I cashed out of Bitcoin, not telling you what to do, but I'm just being transparent. I think it will go higher, but I always, as Warren Buffett always said, he always sold too early, and that's what I love to do. Get out early, take a profit, and then you can sit back and relax and wait for the market to turn. Don't try to catch a falling knife, but wait until the market's turned. Wait until you've actually got the indicators all turned around and the price is moving within a trend. And that's when to take your position. So, market's shaping up very well.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Matt. It's always a pleasure to have you on here. I'll bring on. You can say hi to Jason here as well before you step away. Hey, Jason, how are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Hi, Jason. Looking forward to hearing about this Komodo platform. Sounds very interesting.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad
For those of you that are watching on TV in Texas and Louisiana, we're going to go to a short commercial break, and we will be back to learn more about Komodo, the Komodo platform, and their wallet and their exchange and the ecosystem that they're building. Awesome. So, all right. Well, Matt, thanks, brother.
Thank you. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the show and catch you tomorrow.
All right. Talk soon.
Cheers, David.
Fantastic.
And cheers, Jason. All the best.
So, Jason,
all the best.
How are you, sir?
Doing fine. Basically, just got up a little bit ago, and looking forward to this, and explaining about everything about the Komodo ecosystem and what we've got going on and our plans for the future.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining. The Komodo wallet has been, our, of course, Global Boost. Everybody knows we have our Global Boost coin for like 10 years, and it's been a ride. We've gone up to $1 or $2 a couple of times, and kind of been in this range where we are now for quite a while. Tried all types of different things, and it's so impressive the ecosystem that you guys have built. It must be quite a team that you have. How many people do you have working on the platform?
There's about 24 people in total, like that are I guess we would call like the team. But then we also have our notary nodes, and there's several dozen of those as well, and then additionally community volunteers who do things like help manage our Discord channel and Telegram and stuff like that. So there's a few dozen people who are contributing in different ways.
Very cool. Well, I know, one of my favorite things, and we'll be coming in off the commercial, so I don't want to get into too much of the different stuff until we do. But we are still live, of course, streaming. One of my favorite things about it, of course, first of all, you made it available to people like us and our coin to have a mobile wallet, an iOS mobile wallet, which was always kind of challenging because, we're crypto guys. You don't really want to register some wallet on iOS, all these types of things. So it was big for us. But then to have this DEX as well that is available for everybody, it's really massive. What is your role in putting that all together?
So my personal role, I do business development. So I reach out to a lot of different projects, get them onboarded, onto our wallets and our DEX. I also reach out to different places for partnership. Recently we just partnered with Banksa for in-wallet purchasing of crypto, and hopefully eventually here selling as well. And different types of partnerships for development work for different projects as well. We contribute. A lot of teams don't have the developers necessary to do the our atomic swap integration directly. So we do that for them for a charge.
That's awesome. Well, it is such a great service as I mentioned, and the tech is great, and that atomic swap is so interesting too. So we're about to come in back here on the TV, and then I'll introduce you again here.
Those private keys, that's what does it for me.
Oh, holding your own private keys. Yeah. That was a very important thing, for us. We started the whole atomic swap thing back in, really 2014, a long time ago, a decade now. But, that it was the big problem back in the day. You either had centralized exchanges or you had these proxy token dexes, which are still pretty big today. But you don't really have the keys, and they hold all your funds in a vault or some multi-sig address. And we've seen over the years, there's issues with that kind of management of coins, both legally and on a level where you could have them stolen. So it was very important for everyone to hold their own funds, because that's what crypto is supposed to be about. Be your own bank, right? So we took that to heart, and that's why we built out the system that we did.
Yeah, it is really it's great. Not your keys, not your coin, and we are back. Welcome back, Texas and Louisiana. Have with us here Jason. He is with the Komodo platform. We're big fans of the Komodo platform. Tell me a little bit, Jason, about how long you guys have a token as well. So how long has Komodo been around, and maybe let's start with that.
Yeah, sure. Komodo platform as a coin itself has been around since 2016. However, work that was done in the years prior, I believe 2013, 2014 was around the time that the initial work started. So we're one of the older communities in crypto. We've been working on since then a method of exchange called atomic swaps, which allow people to trade between each other without any third-party middleman or anybody holding their coins.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. So 2016, so you're in your 8th year now. It's been a long time. I know Komodo is traded everywhere. It's on Binance. It's on everything else. Congratulations on such a success. When did you guys decide that it was an important part of your business plan to build out such an ecosystem where you're providing a DEX where people could exchange all types of different coins, not only for Komodo, but also for different other coins as well?
So one feature in the Komodo ecosystem is the ability to make your own chain. And so because of that fact, we had to have a way where people could, exchange between these chains. And then we expanded that upon, to other chains, that like Digibyte and Bitcoin and Litecoin and hundreds of others. Because a lot of these projects do not have a way, besides centralized exchanges, of being able to exchange value between each other. And due to this, we decided that's a good route and a problem that needed to be solved, and a great benefit to the crypto community as a whole.
That's amazing. And what is your business development? That's we talked about that off TV. So that is pretty interesting. And how long have you been with the platform?
I've been with Komodo since the beginning, and even prior when the work that led up to Komodo. So I've been, I guess, part of the project since, like I said, since the beginning of 2016 for Komodo itself, even the a couple years prior with our initial work, that led to the creation of Komodo.
Amazing. And so how did you guys start? I mean, 2016, those were, again, the early days. I think, did Ethereum start as well in 2016?
I believe it's a bit earlier than
might be 2015, 2020. Okay. So did you guys do a raise, or how have you handled this type of thing?
Yes, there was a small raise done in the end of 2016 where we distributed out coins. We raised about 1.2 million. And since then, through prudent investment and not wasting money on frivolous marketing, we've been able to build up those funds to the point that we're able to keep development even for many years to come. So we've always figured that building the software is the number one important thing. So we had to make sure that we had the funds to be able to hire developers and to be able to keep the project going for indefinitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, these are long-term projects. So, you're getting up there to the decade. You want to make sure you're there for at least another decade or longer. And we don't know what the future holds. That's why I always tell people you need crypto, you need cash, you need gold and silver, you need all these things. I know that the paper money is going to go to zero at some point. So someday they're going to dig up paper money and they're going to be like, I can't believe they were using this stuff. And I don't know if they're going to. I think that crypto will be worth something, but of course we don't know. So talk to me a little bit about how the code base. Did you guys base it on a certain code? What did you fork when you used it?
So our initial code base is based off of Zcash, which was based off of Bitcoin. So, I guess we're descendants of Bitcoin, if you will. Yep. And we inherited a lot of the properties that Zcash had, namely the private transactions. However, later on, we disabled them on our main chain, but in our blockchain creator, people are able to create chains with privacy functions like Zcash has. So we didn't want to get rid of it entirely, but due to the basically how regulators are viewing privacy coins these days, keeping it on our main chain was not we figured that was a bad move. But we realized that there's a subsection of crypto users who value privacy, greatly, and everyone should. I'm a big privacy advocate myself. So what we did is spin up another chain called Pirate, which is one of the projects in the Komodo ecosystem that is fully private. Every transaction on that chain, very similar to Monero, that is entirely, it's untraceable.
Yeah, so we know the Pirate guys. Well, I'll tell you what, that one really pumped pretty hard there for a bit, didn't it? It's sustainability is hard, and actually it takes years as well. You have like a lot of times, whatever your distribution model is, you usually are a lot of times you'll have a larger distribution at the beginning, and then of course it'll taper off. So I don't know what theirs was, but so how is your distribution model? You guys proof of work? What do you guys?
So we have a unique type of proof of work system called delayed proof of work. This type of proof of work checkpoints onto a third-party chain, Litecoin in our case, which prevents 51% attacks from happening. So there is a pure proof of work aspect to it, where you can just connect your miner and start mining away. But we also have a system called notary nodes. So these are 64 nodes that are elected by the community, and they receive a special mining rate in return for doing these notarizations, which protect our chain and other chains that are connected to our ecosystem, which also include chains that are not Komodo-based, such as like Einsteinium and Varus and so on. So it's a little bit different than pure. There's a pure proof of work aspect, like I just said, but it's also a bit different where if you are a more technically inclined person, it presents an opportunity for those to be rewarded for those skills.
Well, that is pretty interesting. So talk to me a little bit about the function that you have with Litecoin. Like how does that work?
So every 10 minutes, our notary nodes, they do I guess what's called sortition. So like 13 random of the 64 nodes that are running are chosen to validate the block hash that is on our chain. And they take that block hash and then write it to the Litecoin blockchain. That block hash is referenced, so you can't roll back transactions, past that point. And this is a little bit, it's a very important feature because, smaller chains, especially those that are not like Bitcoin or Litecoin, they have a problem where, an attacker can rent a bunch of hash rate or they own a bunch of miners and then essentially undo transactions. So these Litecoin transactions that we do, these notarizations, as we call them, or provide a very quintessential feature for the chains that utilize them. Additionally, we utilize them in our atomic swap or mechanism as a way of preventing, basically preventing somebody from undoing a trade.
Yeah, that is really interesting. And it is we went through it over the years. We got 51% attacked a number of times, actually. We initially started the chain back in 2013. We had to go back to the drawing board, and that's when we used Yes Script and everything else. Again, though, we got 51% attacked, and we went back and we had to bake some other stuff in there as well. That is a constant problem. We have luckily, or not luckily, but we've been able to keep the hash rate decently high. But that is interesting way to do it, because that's the thing about blockchain is you have to it's immutable, and you have to find ways to make sure that it's immutable, because that's one of the great things about it. And so that's pretty amazing. So Charlie Lee, and as we go back a number of years as well, I don't know, have you been able to work with Charlie at all?
No, unfortunately not. I've been at a conference before, but no, we have not had any direct work with Charlie Lee or the Litecoin Foundation, unfortunately.
Okay, so you just went ahead and you're using it as a super strong chain in order to make yours. Well, I think it's really impressive the way that Komodo has grown itself and its community by leveraging other communities, and leveraging maybe is the wrong word, but by plugging into other networks. So really, it hats off to you. I know it's huge. It really is. It's a big, and if you're business development, and I know that must be a big part of the business development plan. So what are your plans for 2024? What are you excited about?
So yeah, there's a couple things that we're working on. They're very great. We're adding a bunch of additional coins that were not in our wallet. One that we're currently working on is SIA. We are also working on integrating to the Cosmos ecosystem, which has like 60 some different blockchains. So Cosmos we view as a kind of amazing ecosystem, how they've done things, and we plan on incorporating their IBC style messaging system into our wallet. So now with the end purpose of connecting all the blockchains that we currently have in our wallet with all the IBC chains. So additionally, 60 more coins to trade, but into a complete different ecosystem than we have. We are also working on a Cosmos chain as well to aid in different functions that we don't have on Komodo directly. Komodo has it's based off of Bitcoin and Zcash, but their scripting capability is very limited. So we wish to leverage the Cosmos ecosystem's ability to have more advanced type of smart contracts.
Amazing.
There will be some other things as well. We're working on a browser extension wallet, to be, I guess we call it Web3 compatible, and which will also tie into our efforts with the Cosmos ecosystem.
Well, amazing. Well, we really appreciate you coming on. Guys, make sure to check them out. It's Komodo, Komo. Let me just see here. I wanted to pull up. We're about to run out of time, but I wanted to pull up this is their X account here. And I had your main site there.
Oh, it's just komodoplatform.com.
Okay, Komodo Platform. So check that out, guys. They have the fiat on ramp right here. Okay, you can use your credit card to get Bitcoin, Litecoin, the big ones, right? I don't think you do the smaller ones at the moment. Is that a regulatory thing as well?
Yeah, it is. So we use a third-party service provider called Banksa and on Ramper, and it's limited to the coins that they do. Currently is not available for U.S. users. However, according to their roadmap, by end of March, U.S. users should be able to access it.
End of March. It's right around the corner. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on. Guys, check out Komodo platform. We're big fans. And I know we bumped it around a little bit, but I really appreciate you. I'd like to have you on again, maybe after you end of March, once things launch here in the U.S. I think that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah, it'd be great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Cheers, Jason. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jason.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. Another good morning here at Impact Money. David, thanks for helping out here, or helping out. Thanks for being on from Ireland. And we'll see you guys in about 5 hours there on your TV in Texas and Louisiana and streaming live. See you soon.
All right, cool. See you soon.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.